Everyone. Today I will take you through the project on managing machine learning projects, which is the course project for this course. The agenda today will be evaluating the opportunity to implement an ML solution. Next, we will evaluate a CRISP DM business understanding. Then, we will validate and go through the validation plan. Next, we will go through what should be the ML system design. And finally, lastly, we will look at what are the potential risks in production. We will begin by evaluating the opportunity, and the topic for evaluation today is identification of appropriate user entitlements to access an in house application within an organization. So, is there a problem? There are employees who may require access to different resources within the application, and depending on the business requirement to receive or raise an access for the application, the access for each user needs to be reviewed by the application admins before granting them any kind of access to use the application. So, since the application is built on very fine grained entitlements, the access management for the application becomes very crucial, and it needs to be evaluated as to which kind of users can be given access to the application. So, to summarize, the application should only be allowed to be accessed by those users who have a need to access that application. Access requests are currently manually evaluated by the admins, who have to go through the background or the profile of the employee who is requesting the access, like which department the employee belongs to, what is the organization's hierarchy they belong to, before evaluating and reviewing as a particular access request. Can ML help to solve this evaluation process, the application approval process? Yes, ML can help to automate the user access control system, which can automatically review what kind of users are requesting and should these users be granted access or the request should be rejected. Next, we will go through the CRISP DM business understanding for this problem. The target user are users from the operations and technology team of the organization. Problem statement here is the access requests for the users are currently manually reviewed by the admins, which is a very tedious and time consuming process. The approval process is time consuming because there are plenty of requests that needs to be reviewed by the admins manually. They have to go through each user or each employee's background within the organization to view what department or what roles they are currently serving, and then take a decision whether the access request should be approved or rejected. So this whole process also leads to a delay in the approval process. So there is a queue of employees who have to wait for quite a few number of days to see whether their access is being granted, even for those employees who meet the business requirement to access the application. Success definition for this would be what is the expected impact. So it would reduce the time and effort to review the access requests and approve only the valid requests. Outcome metric for this would be reduce the access request to review time by X% and thereby approve valid requests only. Output metric would be that accuracy of more than Y% of the entire application's access management system. The factors that we would like to look at for this ML would be the line of business or the department of the employee, the designation or the functional title of the employee who is requesting access to the application, and also if the manager of the employee has already approved the request that the employee is making to access this application. Next, we would go through the solution validation plan. We will validate this through 5 iterations. First iteration is selecting the sample data set, which basically comprise of some access requests that has been raised by different employees coming from different departments and different organizational structures. We will next, in the second iteration, build a mock-up model, which is based on the historical access requests that have been received by the application in the past. Next, we will use heuristics, and in the third iteration, we'll use heuristics and historical requests received to predict the type of entitlements and the resources that are being requested by employees within the organization. In the fourth iteration, we will compare the sample modic predictions with the previous steps and then decide on a standard. And finally, in the last iteration, we will refine the model using a CRISP-DM method and keep adding more features to increase the data set we are testing on, building the ML solution on. Next, taking you through the ML system design. So this solution will be deployed in cloud because the application to which the employees are requested, this is available in a cloud. So cloud would be an ideal method to system design to deploy the solution. This should be implemented as an offline learning because it is easier to implement, and also the organization structure within an organization doesn't change over time, meaning the number of departments and number of functional titles and roles available within the organization doesn't change over time. So this is appropriate for an offline learning. And finally, the solution is simply going to be implemented as an online prediction because we want the ML solution to evaluate the entitlement requests as soon as they are received from different employees within the organization and kick off the approval process immediately. So we should review this should be that is the reason why this is suitable for an online prediction. And lastly, we will evaluate the potential risks in production that this solution may have. And we feel that data drift is something that the kind of risk that this ML solution might encounter because the type of resources of the application that employees generally requests, they will change over time once the initial request is granted. So once an employee becomes a user of the application, they would want to access more features within the application. So they would want to have more requests and they would maybe want to expand the usage of the application. Secondly, when the application also matures and newer versions are deployed or newer versions of the application is launched with new features, new layers and additional layers of access requests or additional layers of entitlements will be added to the application, which would make the entitlement access system of the application more complicated, and hence users would again have to request for new resources that were maybe previously not existing in the application. So as and when the application matures, new features matures, there are new requests that even the existing users would need to request. So the kind of requests that again will be raised will be new depending on new resources that were not available before. So this would also lead to the degradation in the model performance if we are testing on a fixed set of data. Hence we would continuously require to retrain and update the model as and when the application also keeps maturing. Thank you so much for your time. This concludes my project on managing ML projects.